Well, good afternoon, folks. It's the real Captain Kirk here. We're live from One Bethlehem Plaza here in downtown Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, here on the last weekend of March. Hard to believe here, but also to the season. Sadly, a lot of fatalities here with tornadoes through the southeast, Mississippi, Georgia areas. But again, we're up 48% above average, 8% more than last year, most in 6 years, top 20%. So an active start here, and unfortunately, we think this will continue through the entire spring, early summer season with the most activity in 4 years. Current drought conditions continue to make huge improvements. Again, we peaked at 82% of the country in drought phases back on 1 November, and today we're at about 52%. So we're plummeting here. 3-year La Nina drought cycle is over pretty much. We're already transitioning to an El Nino pattern, amongst other cycles here. So good news. Again, we do believe we're going to be talking wetter than average for the U.S. overall here as we go through the spring, summer season, which we expect to be the wettest in about 4 years. Looking at season-to-date snowfall, we picked up some ground. We finally have upped it here. We're now the most snow in 4 years. It's still 19% above last year, still 6% below average, but again, most in 4. So we finally upticked here with the much snowier March. Overall, 17th least in 38 years. So just a bit below average there, but again, most in 4 years. That mid-December week held on. It looks like there's pretty much a 0% chance that it's going to lose its number one spot. So that mid-December, early Christmas period here was obviously the snowiest of the entire winter, fall, spring season here. We've had, looks like about 7 straight weeks here in the late Feb through April timeframe that's more snow than last year. So a snowy end to the winter and start of the spring season here in the U.S. Bars show the more snow than last year, and the line is the actual 260 snowfall index. Looking at snow cover here was about 30% of the country here still had snow on the ground for late March. That's pretty heavy here. Again, 12% was what last year was. So last year was the least snow cover in 10 years. This, the most in 5 years, and probably second most in 20 years. So still a lot of snow on the ground out there for the Rockies and the northern tier of the U.S. Looking at last week world summer here, no doubt about it. Here in the U.S., cold, 4.7 degrees colder than last year. Cold is the 9 years, 10th coldest in 38 years. So below average national temperatures. If there was a warm spot, it would have been Texas in terms of trends. Big map here is trends versus last year. But again, much of the country was in Canada was much colder than last year. Rainfall, just a hair drier than last year, driest in 4, but still 14th wettest in 38 years with above average rainfall for the U.S. A lot more snow, 259% more than a year ago, most in 7 years, 7th most in 38 years. Cold up in Canada, again, coast to coast, 7 degrees colder, coldest in 5 years, 6th coldest in 38. If there was a real hot spot, it was Europe. Number one hottest in over 38 years, near record heat across much of Europe, especially Eastern Europe. Colder there in India, coldest in 33 years. That was a little bit of a change for them. Maps inset left are the trends versus average. 'Tis the season, allergy, asthma suffering season. Again, the spring pollen kicking into gear here. So after the freezes here this past weekend, warming up here. So again, allergy sufferers will be back to suffering here with warmer, drier conditions. Anytime you see warmer, drier, you're probably going to have more pollen suspended in the air and more suffering. This week overall, the U.S. about 2.3 warmer than last year. Haven't said that in a few weeks. Warmest in 3 years. 18th warmest in 38 years. So above average, just a hair above average temperatures here in the U.S. Warm spot would be, again, Gulf Coast, Southeast, Mid-Atlantic. Precip trends, just a hair wetter than last year, 1%, wettest in 5 years, 19th wettest in 38, so hair below average, and snowiest in 5 years. Again, we'll have to look for more severe weather potential again across the south. Again, 'tis the season. Anytime you get this boundary between the cold to the west, northwest plains and the warmth in the southeast, somewhere in that area you're going to have some severe weather. Look at the 6-day snowfall trends here through the 30th of March here. Again, still quite a bit of snow out there, 225% more than a year ago, 141% above average, most in 5, third most in 38 years, and 49% of the country still impacted with some snow. Again, some of this is just light flurries and snow showers, but those lighter blues, darker blues, pinks, again, a lot more accumulating snow. Again, Great Lakes, New England, and the Rocky Mountains. Then this snowfall index just puts it into perspective here. So again, the most in 5 years here for this last part of March. Looking at next week, getting us to the first full week of April here, week ending the 8th of April here in the U.S. 0.6 warmer than last year, still 18th coldest in 38 years, below average. So again, coolest in looks about 4 years here. Warm spots, again, same spot, same general trend here. Warmer southeast, Gulf Coast, and colder west and northwest. Rainfall maybe down a bit, 43% drier than last year. We'll see. Again, a lot of coverage here for, but driest in 3, 11th driest in 38. Gonna have to watch out for more severe weather there, from Texas to Arkansas, Tennessee, really anywhere in that south central southeast U.S. So again, 'tis the season for sure. And if we aggregate these 2-week trends here for the world overall, we'd say it's a predominant theme is cold west, milder east, and pretty cold across Canada. Europe's cooled off quite a bit, not quite the extreme conditions they've had. So again, more seasonable. In fact, the warmth would shift more toward Spain and Portugal rather than Central and Eastern Europe. So with that, folks, we hope you have a great week ahead here, and we will be talking to you again this time next week as we transition to April.